Hello everybody, I am back. Sorry that I've been gone. Even I need a break, but we'll talk a little bit about what I've been up to in the past couple of weeks and some tournaments. But first, a lot of good things that are happening in the world of golf. Phil Mickelson winning a major at 50 years of age, absolutely incredible. Jon Rahm won his first major at Torrey Pines, bringing him to the #1 golfer in the world. Congratulations, Jon Rahm, or Rombo, however you want to call him. And Nelly Korda on the LPGA Tour winning her first major, bringing her to the #1 player in the world, which I don't believe has been held by an American in something like 8 years, sending her off to the Olympics in Tokyo as well. So that is super exciting all across the board for the world of golf. And switching back to me, I have been playing some really phenomenal golf lately, and Phil Mickelson's interview actually got me thinking about why that might be. How do you make committed golf swings and play good golf under pressure? Let's talk about that right meow.
Oh, that was a great shot.
Thank you very much for tuning in to my YouTube channel. My name is Kenny. Some of you may know me as Kennie Kat. I am a competitive golfer, and my goal is to help you improve your golf faster by learning from some of my successes and also some of my failures. You want to know what training aids, what practice guides, and what things I'm working on with my instructor that could help you improve your game faster? Hit that subscribe button below. I do release free content every single week. So, what have I been up to lately? I actually took a trip recently up to Seattle to play some golf with a really good friend of mine, Tim. What's going on, Tim? We played Chambers Golf, and we played Chambers Bay, and it was an absolutely incredible experience. I gotta be honest, I was a little bit intimidated to play links golf because I've never played a links golf course before, a true links golf course before, and there's a lot of folklore that surrounds like links golf that can be, a little bit intimidating if you've never actually played one. I don't play a lot of windy punch shots in Arizona because wind here is like having a mother-in-law that lives like a few states over. You get a pretty good advance notice of like 2 weeks if she's going to be coming into town, and you can plan accordingly and, find somewhere else to be. With that being said, I actually played very well at Chambers Bay, and I discovered that I actually love links golf. I enjoyed the architecture. I love the way that it challenges my short game to hit creative shots and use a lot of the natural formations of the golf course itself to really get the ball as close as possible to the hole. But what really helped me is I committed to simply hitting the shots that I know I can hit and just accepting the outcomes. I don't play a lot of punch shots, so I played a lot of stock shots and just adjusted for the wind and let Mother Nature do what she was gonna do. And oddly enough, I came this close to getting my first hole-in-one.
Oh my God, that was so close.
Which is funny because I can assure you, I was not aiming anywhere at that flag. So what is a committed golf swing? I'll actually let Phil Mickelson handle this.
A committed golf swing is where you don't let in thoughts of where you want it to go. You keep the feel of what you want to do throughout the swing. And I wanted to aim down left side and let the face rotate over a little bit with that wind, and I hit a nice soft little draw in the left side of the fairway, and I made committed swings from there on. Now, they didn't always work out, but I made good swings from then on.
I thought this was one of the most interesting parts of Phil Mickelson winning his major at 50. This is quite possibly one of the top 10 golfers, maybe top 5 golfers on the planet to have ever played the game. And here he is going into a major on Sunday with a lead, and he's talking about, I was not committed to like the first 7 or 6 holes. Like, that's just incredible that someone at his skill level can still struggle with not being committed to a golf swing. Obviously, that's not unique to Phil Mickelson. We're all just humans and we all make the same mistakes. but I've got some questions for you all down that lens. Answer me in the comment sections below. How many times have you seen a pin that's tucked next to a bunker and then you've aimed for the middle of the green, but in the back of your mind you thought, if this ball could just float on over to that pin, I'd have a good look at birdie. I'm definitely guilty of that one. Here's another question for you. Answer me in the comment sections below. How many of you have been on a really tough tee box, right? With a tight fairway and a really big old fairway bunker. And you just thought to yourself, if I could just, steer this ball away from that bunker, I'll be all right and I'll hit some fairway. And then you went out there and swung it and probably hit it directly into that fairway bunker, or hit a shot that was way worse. Guilty of that one too. That's basically an uncommitted swing. We are trying to control the outcome, and it creates a lot of doubt and uncertainty into our swing, and usually ends up with us hitting the shot that we don't want to hit, or something that's even worse. Which brings me back to me. One of the reasons that I have been playing some of the most consistent golf I've played in a very long time is I've really started to mentally internalize that I just got to trust my game, and I can't really control the outcome. Like, that ball's gonna go roughly where it's gonna go based off of my skill level and my standard dispersion. My ball striking is still far from where I want it to be. My putting game is improving, but it's still not quite there. We're getting a little bit better. We're starting to get those average putts per game a little bit under 32. And I'm still playing with the 3-wood because my driver hasn't been delivered, and every time I call True Spec, they're treating me like I'm a bill collector, telling me, the check's in the mail. I only kid, I get it. There's all kinds of shipping delays around the world. I'm not special, but none of that prevents me from having committed golf swings and knowing that I have what it takes to go out there and shoot a good score. I forgot who said this, but it was like one of the old time players from like the 50s or the 60s, Bobby Jones or Gene Sarazen, one of them. But someone had asked them, how many golf shots in a round do they think that they hit that turn out almost exactly the way they envisioned them? And the answer was 2 or 3 times per round, which I would be lucky if I had 3 shots per round that turned out exactly like I expected them to. It's probably closer to like 1 or 2 for me on a pretty decent day. If I had 3, I'd be over the moon. But the whole point is, of all the swings you take on a golf course, even if you are a pro and you're shooting in like the low 70s, high 60s, that's still only 6% of your shots. That means 95+% of the time you stand up to that ball, what's coming out of the pipe is going to be an average to slightly below average shot, and occasionally, especially if you're a handicap golfer like myself, a pretty poor shot. I don't say that to bring out doom and gloom where it's like, oh my lord, like 90+% of your shots are gonna be terrible, but it's just something that has to be accepted that you're gonna hit a lot of average shots. And in order for you to play good golf under pressure, you just gotta be comfortable with having committed golf swings and trusting that the ball's gonna do what you know it's gonna do based off of what your skill level is and what your practice rounds or your range sessions tell you that they're gonna do. Ball don't lie. Let's take a look at my tournament that I showed you a practice round for. It was at Southern Dunes a couple weeks ago, which actually happened, I think, the week after the Southwest sectional PGA qualifiers. So just looking at my round, let me pull it up here on my Arcos app. I hit a solid tee shot on the first hole, and then I hit like a pretty poor approach shot and just thinned this gap wedge, which left me with like a 43-foot putt. And I remember looking at the putt, and I tentatively hit it because I was not committed to getting that ball to the hole, and I was actually afraid that I was going to leave it pass. And of course, when you don't commit to a golf shot or you don't commit to a target in your mind, I ended up leaving it like 8 or 9 feet short of the hole and ended up 3-putting on my first hole. I hit very committed shots on 4 and 5, but just didn't get a good result and took some good bogeys on those holes. I hit a very committed putt on 6 and made a very solid 9-footer to save par. Gave that bad boy the old Tiger fist pump. Now, hole 7, this is where I made more mistakes than your first job as a teenager where you got to be put on the register and you didn't know what to do. You just punching all kinds of buttons.
This is for the family size and you have the regular size.
Oh no, it looks as if she's already angry and she's gonna tear my head off.
I hit a very committed tee shot with my 5-wood and I just pulled it straight left into the desert. I ended up in like this rocky desert area just right off of the cart path, and it wasn't the worst situation to be in, but I debated on punching it out with the long iron, but then I decided to go with the full 8-iron. Unfortunately, as I stepped up to the ball, I remember I had a bit of a hesitation because I wasn't fully committed to the shot, because a full swing on unstable ground, like it just clicked in my mind of like, I've got to have a perfect strike in order for this to work. And of course, an uncommitted swing ended up topping it down the cart path and ultimately made a double on this hole. Hole 9 was a turning point. I took a look at the leaderboard on the scoring app and realized that I was still in this tournament. I was only a few shots off of the lead, and I made quite possibly the best bogey I have ever made playing golf ever on this hole. I knew that at this point, like, the wind was picking up. It was getting up to about 15, 20 miles an hour. And I knew from the practice round yesterday or the day before that this back 9 was going to be brutal if I wasn't hitting committed golf shots, because the wind could be taking this ball anywhere. I hit a solid drive with the 5-wood, but the strong wind off the left really just killed it in the air, and it was just trying to draw through it, but it didn't. It just caught up and it fell a little bit short. And I made a very confident and committed swing with my 5 hybrid to approach the green, but I just flared it off the toe to the right, and this thing went so far right. I'm talking about, I thought that thing was sitting on the 18th green because it went over the tree and just scooted way off, and I was like, okay, that ball could be very well on the 18th green, could be in the water. I have no idea where it's at. But I didn't panic. Sometimes, it's not gonna work out, but I was completely committed to the shot and the target that I had selected. So I walked, all the way over to the area to the right of where I saw the ball go, and I noticed there were some players in the 18th fairway that were hitting their approach shots, and I patiently waited. I didn't, let panic set in. I didn't know where my ball was at, but I just waited. I'm like, my ball's gonna be somewhere over here, or it's gonna be in the water. Like, we don't know, but we'll figure it out, and we'll do the best we can from that situation. So I told my group to continue on without me, like, don't worry about me, like, play the rest of the hole. I'm gonna wait until I have enough time to look for my ball, figure out what's going on. So I looked all in the rough to the right, couldn't find my ball. I looked over into the bunkers that were on the 18th fairway, couldn't find my ball. I asked the players that they saw water splash, none of them said anything, still couldn't find the ball. So finally it dawned upon me to look in this grassy, sandy dune area that kind of like shields the 9th green from the 18th green. And as I'm searching around, there it was. I found my ball. It was on the side of this super sandy dune behind clumps of like fescue and grass, and I didn't complain. I didn't panic. I simply looked at my lie and stance and tried to figure out if I could actually get a club on the ball. I'm just sitting there making these practice mini mock swings with no club, just like, hey, what can I do with this? Can I get a club on the back of the ball? And once I cycled through a couple of options, I realized that, okay, I can actually get a club on the back of this ball, but it's gonna come out hot and I've got no chance of stopping this. So then I started to look at my options of what I could do to get the ball back into play. Going for the flag was not an option because I could easily leave it short-sided in a greenside bunker. So I realized I had to go back to the front middle of the green because that was the largest area I could comfortably land the ball without putting it in a bunker and at least give myself a chance to, chip and get up and down or have myself a really long putt. I had a perfect visual of what I wanted to do, and I was fully committed to hitting a de-lofted sand wedge right behind the ball to force this thing out of the sandy dune and hit into the middle front of the green and just let it release. I was so focused on just committing to a good strike that I didn't see the ball land, but when I looked up, I saw that the ball had actually hit the green and was just rolling up towards the middle center of the green, which was great. And as I go over to mark my ball, I realize, okay, I've got about a 35-foot putt, but then I look at the hole and I'm like, okay, this thing is severely downsloping and it's one of those putts that could easily go 8 foot past the hole, but none of that entered my mind. I was committed to the task that I had at hand. I hit the putt with full commitment to the speed that I visualized. I saw it start on the line that I wanted it to start, and I kept my body completely still, just turning my head ever so slightly, and I could see the ball rolling right up to the crest of the hill, and it was just starting to die out as it took the hill and rolled down on the line, and it's just kind of creasing towards the hole. And I mean, this thing probably moved about a ball outside of the cup and landed about a foot and a half past the hole. I went in and tapped that bad boy in for a bogey. And I remember as I grabbed my ball out of the cup and I'm walking back to my cart, my playing partner, Daryl, literally looks at me and just gives me one of those like head nods, but kind of like impressed. And he just goes, dude, that was one hell of a bogey. I didn't win the tournament, but I stayed in the pack all the way up until the 18th hole. I finished 6th out of a field of 23 players, and I was very, very proud of myself with the way I handled and composed myself. And I think from the next 10 holes on, I think I was like 3 or 4 over, but I played some really good golf coming through that backstretch and just making very, very committed swings and just trusting that, you know, the ball's going to go where it's going to go, and we'll go up there and find it and hit it again. I didn't have my best game that day. I didn't actually putt the best that I would have liked to putt, and I didn't hit any hellacious seeds or bombs. That's not true. I definitely hit one ridiculous bomb with a 3-wood that was downwind on a par 5 and absolutely smoked the heck out of it. But for the last 10 holes of that tournament, I was 100% committed to every golf swing that I had. And just like Phil Mickelson says, it doesn't always work out. But if you want to play good golf and you want to win tournaments, you gotta have committed golf swings. That is my wrap up for what I've been up to. We'll have some new videos coming out shortly. I do apologize for my absence, but again, I need a vacation just like most of y'all, and you know, I gotta enjoy some life too. I do have a really good video coming up and a giveaway. It's about that time where we can start giving away stuff on the channel to get more people to join and grow this channel so that I can give away even more stuff to you. Make sure you stay tuned for next week's video. I do have some giveaways that are gonna be happening. I played Kurt in a heads-up match of match play across 18 holes. Let you see how that worked out and see how your boy Kennie Kat scored against the teacher himself. And I'm going to be giving away a few virtual lessons with Kurt himself. For any of you down that lens want to get a free lesson from a really good instructor that has helped me transform my game to a whole new level, we're going to be giving away those in next week's video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. That's all I really got for you. As always, thank you very much for watching my YouTube channel. Deuces, people. Let's keep it moving.